It finally got repaired last week. Yay! I like a larger keyboard with a laptop, and it's just better all around with the laptop than it is trying to check email on my phone. Yeah, some things are just plain annoying, and that was one of them. And I haven't responded to their survey yet because what would I tell them? How disappointed I was and how slow it was, and being on the phone as long as I was, and they asked, are you in a hurry? Obviously you're not. If it took 30 minutes and I still don't have an answer. All right. Well, I'm known as the banking place that needs deals, right? Deals, right? There's one lady that IMs me, and she's really demanding, and this week she IM'd me and then said, I'd like to pick up 1,000 envelopes for my department. It's like, all right. And that's all you're going to get because that's all we've got. And then when she showed up for the envelopes, she said, smile to me, and it's like, you've known me for a while. Do I look like the type that smiles when I'm at work? I smile when I'm not at work. And if I am smiling at work, you aren't the reason why. But of course, I'm not going to tell her that because I want to keep my job. Oh, it's hard to be honest at work if you like your job. And sometimes I get really weird requests too. I mean, they're garden variety requests, but it can be a little much at times. Sometimes I'll get a request for overnight check, no big deal, and then I send them the tracking number. And then after I send the tracking number, it's like, oh, I forgot. I want a copy of the check too. And it's like, what else do you want? Mocha latte with that? Sorry, I don't do coffee. I wish I was making that up. Yeah, that river is not running dry anytime soon. Not with what I do, bringing checks all day. But I like what I do. Well, it meant something to me when the final episode of Young Sheldon was this week. And how did I mark the event? Well, here's how. The show ended with the same song it began with, which was Walk of Life by Dire Straits. And I was reminded of how, hey, I have that album Brothers in Arms on cassette, so I got it out. Yep, it's still there. Except I didn't listen to the cassette because just about every song now is on YouTube. And then I ended up eating Kentucky Fried Chicken this weekend because in that final episode, the family eats there too. Well, I guess it is a reminder of some of the things I grew up with in small towns because the only chicken place we had was them. And then I go out to suburban Chicago, and it's like, what? There are other choices where you can eat chicken? Guess so! Well, there was that. And, of course, I love baseball. I went to the St. Paul Saints game. Actually, it was a doubleheader. The first game on Saturday was a completion of a suspended game from Friday when it rained. And I can be at a loss for what to do at times between games of a doubleheader, but I was not alone at first looking at their souvenir shop and then looking at the City of Baseball Museum. And I'm aware of how, since I majored in history, that I'm smart enough to give some of the tours of these museums. But it's a self-guided tour. But that still means that I sometimes have to deal with idiots who act like they know more than me. There was somebody who showed up and wanted to talk about the Honus Wagner cigarette card, which is the holy grail of baseball card collecting. Two problems with that. One, that card is not on display at that museum. Two, he didn't get his facts straight about how many of those cards were left. It's more than two, it's more like 100. And then you have to say, I was talking to somebody else. Yeah, and they need to know that you're full of shit, dude. And then a little later on, somebody wondered out loud if Minneapolis had a minor league baseball team. Well, depending on what day it is, some people think the Minnesota Twins are. Yeah, why would Minneapolis have a minor league team when they already have a major league team? Get a clue, people. But no, I didn't yell at her. But some people you have to deal with. I think that's why I like attending baseball games by myself, because then I get more out of the game that way, and if I don't want to listen to annoying conversations by other people, I can just move. Keep moving in the standing room area, all the way around, walking all the way around. I went to a movie too, the one called Wildcat, the biopic about Flannery O'Connor, the writer. I liked some of the lines that she had in it about, I try to turn the other cheek, but my tongue was in the way. And it's like, yeah, I guess I can be sarcastic and dour like that too. That's why it works for me. And it helped that part of the story took place in Iowa City, where I went to college. Home of the famous writer's workshop. Even back in her day, because of course she died more than 60 years ago now. Yep, love those biopics. And I went to Doors Open Minneapolis this week. Oh, that is a lot of fun, getting to tour places that are normally not open to the public. I went to the Star Tribune building, saw all the different parts of the production of the paper, and then I get to one part that was left up only for the tour. Normally it isn't. And it reminded me of movies where somebody yells, "Stop the presses!" I think I was in a Muppet movie. Gonzo said it, but it's still a cool memory nonetheless. And the other one I liked doing was where I actually got a souvenir, which was at the Metro Transit maintenance facility. When I was taking the light rail to the tours, I saw somebody who had that souvenir, and I said, oh yeah, that's going to be my next stop, because it was a cardboard scale model of those light rail trains. And who doesn't want something like that? And yeah, I guess I did say at those tours that Sheldon would love being there because he loves trains. And we even had some people that would describe parts of the train, like the engine, where that was on display there. He had a really big wrench, and he said he had an even bigger one than that. That one was just a pointer. And it's like, oh, okay. Well, yeah, you tend to learn more when you listen more. So when a tour guide is giving a tour, I listen. Yeah, I'll probably do Doors Open again next year. I'll just have to see what venues they've got available. Yeah, I'm a history nerd, so it made sense I would like Doors Open. I've seen historic buildings, but, well, some of those museums I can see outside of Doors Open, so I only have one day to do it. It's like, all right, make it count. And hope that I start early enough in the day, too. Start before noon, then you have time to eat, and you can do the tours again. All about the logistics, people. Well, that'll do it for me. May you all be great.